G'day everybody, welcome to PV Media Productions. I have my lovely wife with me today, so we can address all of you. And Veronica, say g'day.
Hello.
So, okay, this week it's all about Veronica actually, and that's one of the reasons that she's participating today. Ronnie had an appointment last Friday with the specialist to do with her dexterity for her hands, of course. She has carpal tunnel and trigger finger and a few other issues. Anyway, the specialist organised for her to see a occupational therapist actually for her hands. And what they did is they created a splint for Veronica because they want her to be able to rest during the night while she's sleeping, to rest her hand. Because with Veronica's CP she has muscle spasms, and so that causes the trigger finger to wake her up during the night and she has a restless sleep, which is not good. And also they want to try and give the hand enough opportunity for all swelling and that to go down because they're fairly swollen at the moment. So we don't know when the operation is going to take place. We're waiting on a letter for them.
Got one this morning for the
that was to go back to the occupational therapist. So that wasn't for the operation. So what will happen with the letter for the operation will put Veronica on a waiting list, and she'll be assigned a category 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And each category further down the line is a longer waiting period. So that's what we're waiting on, to see how long this is going to take. But in case she goes to category 1 and it comes in fairly quickly, so that's why the physiotherapist is wanting her to rest her hands, get the swelling down, get ready for the operation. That actually brings us to all the therapies for Veronica, which she undergoes on a weekly basis. Usually she has speech therapy weekly, but just of late it's been a teleconference call. And she goes weekly for aqua therapy, and that's for her balance. That's to keep her balance in check and assist with that. She goes for physio for her right shoulder and for her right foot. She has, I'll see if I can pronounce this correctly now, plantar fasciitis. I want to talk a little bit about Veronica's mobility. We applied for we do get some NDIS funding to assist with things like mobility and all these therapies and that sort of thing. But what we're trying to do is, Veronica loves taking photographs, so we want to get her back out there photographing. She loves taking photographs of birds and wildlife. So tell us a little bit about your photography, Veronica, what you actually like doing with your cameras, etc.
I just like taking photos of birds and wildlife and scenery and, running water. Those beautiful, pictures that you don't really see much, around the city. But, I enjoy it, just walking on the bush. And
unfortunately, with Veronica's
hand at the moment,
it's not so much the hand, it's more the foot. If we were to go out, you can't walk very far.
No.
So this is why we've applied to NDIS for some assistance, some support. We're asking them to divert funds to a recumbent trike for Veronica because she has arthritis in the back, and she has a broken coccyx, so she has difficulty sitting on a saddle. So the idea is to get her something that is comfortable to sit in. What we'd like to do now is talk a little bit about ourselves and Veronica's history. She loves painting at the moment, but she can't do the painting because she's trying to rest the hand. So we thought, well, we can't talk a lot about that. So what we will do is we will talk about Veronica's heritage, where she comes from. So in our introduction, we've said what Veronica's issues are. What I'd like Veronica to do now is tell us a little bit about her earliest memories. So over to you, Veronica.
Well, my earliest memories is I was born in Salisbury, Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, born in October, and I was registered the year after I was born in October. And then they took me down to Bulawayo.
I'll just interrupt you for a moment. This Veronica was abandoned at birth, and so she was registered by Evelyn Turner, a registered nurse, senior registered nurse, And we thought that they had the spelling of the name wrong because Veronica's mother used an alias when she had the child. And apparently this is an alias that she had used quite a bit. We have found her mother through mtDNA tests. So, and that was only less than a year ago that we found her mother. But her mother has passed. However, we found that the mother had 13 children, that we have now found 13 children. We don't know if she had any more than that. Of the 13 children, we've been able to locate a half a dozen of them. Some have passed. So we now have the children of those relatives, in contact with Veronica. So that's really good, you know. And I've been doing studying the family tree and trying to find Veronica's family since we met.
It's a long time.
It's a long time, you know. So we met in 1975. So we've been looking for her family since then.
Yeah.
And we've only just found them. So, and we would not have found them if it weren't for DNA, because Veronica's maiden name is Breitenbach, and so you can understand why we thought she may have misspelt the name. The nurse, that is, Evelyn Turner, because Breitendachs and Breitenbachs and the like, there's different spellings for it, and the very close names to it, and so forth and so on. So going back to Veronica telling us that, I remember she told me once that she started off and that her earliest memories were of St. Francis home.
Yeah. Yeah, they took me to St. Francis home, and I was there for a couple of years, about 2 years I think. And I had to, I mean, I was only a baby, but I remember one Christmas day standing in the cot, and I was looking at one side of the room, like a dormitory, and it was like they had the Christmas decorations and so on. And I looked at that, and suddenly I heard like singing, and I thought, what's going on? And suddenly the doors opened, and it was the nuns. No, they're not the church nuns. These are the sisters nuns, the ones that look after children in hospital. So they all wear the white, outfits. So they started walking in and they were singing. And then suddenly I just felt like I was in heaven. And I'll never forget that, because it was the most precious moment of my life, of knowing that there's something awesome out there, So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Watched them walking past me up to the place where they had Jesus and in the manger and so on, and turned by and they sung all the way out there. Outside again. So that was the only time I can remember good things. But I had to start going to King Louis VI, and one of the sisters from St. Francis was just taking me just for an hour, just to see how I would go. So it wasn't too bad as long as she was there, because I absolutely loved her. She was so beautiful to me, caring and everything. And then they decided to send me off to St. Gabriel's. So I went to St. Gabriel's, and I was there, that would have been about probably 2-3 years, I think, or maybe less. And I had to, I hated it. I literally hated St. Gabriel's. It was very, very, I had so much bad luck and so much horrible memories of my childhood in that place. They never looked after you, and when I was sick I got smacked and told to be quiet, or I get put outside or something like that because I'm waking up the kids. There wasn't any compassion.
So next week we'll bring you another summary of what's happened during the week. and a little bit too of our history. And we'll continue with Veronica's story and where she went, how she grew up, and the like. In the future, we'll talk about Rose, Sally, and Alona. And these are people that were really very, and still today, some of them are very influential in Veronica's life. So we'll talk about that a little bit next time. Veronica can't work on her art anymore. However, she has a lot of art that's there. So I'm going to put up some photographs of her art, and I'm into Instagram. I'll put them on her Instagram page. We're going to set up a little gallery so that we can start selling Veronica's art. Because she has done some commissioned work and she has had friends buy pieces from her, but she hasn't actually started marketing them and selling them. So we're going to do that though, and we're doing the same with my art. I did have it I've had it in several galleries, but I haven't sold anything for quite some time. I've been commissioned to do work, but I haven't had any sales that I can speak of for the last couple of years. So I've decided to market my art overseas. It's not very popular here in Australia, but there's a lot of interest in the United States and Canada. So and Brazil. So I'm going to market my art in Canada, the United States and Brazil.
In China?
And China. There has been some interest in my art in China, so I'm going to market it in China. And I think Veronica might have some interest in her art as well in China, so we'll see. We'll see how we go. So I'm working on web pages and the like in the background. I've got a web page up. It's not very good, but I'm working on another one in the background, which I will put up in the not too distant future. Actually, I want it up before the end of the financial year, so I've got to pull my finger out. So that's pretty much it for this week. Now, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe and ring the bell if you want to be notified when we do put something up, because although we're going to be doing this weekly, we will put up other stuff as well. That's it from Veronica and Peter for this week. So, bye.
Bye.
See you later.
See ya.